It's a beautiful fall day here in New York City, and that means it is time for Windup Watch Fair. My name is Blake Bettner. I'm the managing editor of Worn and Wound, and this is a special episode of A Week in Watches, episode 66. We are about to walk in here and take a look at some of the special watches and some of the special people that are making up this year's fair, so stay tuned for more. We've already got a line forming for day 3 here. We're going to take a quick walk through the line and see what kind of watches we can spot. We're here with Daniel. Daniel, what watch are you wearing on your wrist today?
Yeah, so this is Mad 1 Red from the raffle, although I have to admit I didn't get it from the raffle. I purchased it from a fellow WIS, I guess. And yeah, figured wear a little something to rep some independent brands today.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch looks great, and if ever was a time to wear it, today's the day. All right, we're here with father and son, Doug and Ben. Doug, Ben, thanks for joining us today. Tell us about the watch you got on your wrist here.
So it's a Seals Instruments MK2 Omnidiver, based out of Arizona.
Gnarly. Love it, this thing. And boy, this has a lot of personality to it. I love the colors here. It goes with the jacket. Ben, what are you wearing today?
Yeah, Tudor Black Bay 58. Got it when I graduated college.
All right, well, congratulations. Another classic choice. I've seen a few of these here this weekend. Seems to be a very popular watch. Tudor might be onto something with this Black Bay line, I think. Thanks so much for taking the time to show us your watches, guys. And we're here in front of the Laco booth at Windup Watch Fair. We have a new watch, a new pair of watches called the DIN 8330. I really love these watches. There's a GMT, there's a time and date. These have a real old school German tool watch quality that I really enjoy. Here to help me talk about them and explain them is the owner of Laco, Uwe. Uwe, thanks for joining us today. Tell us about this watch.
So this is a watch that you can use when you don't have a watch in your cockpit. It's certified. It's gasoline resistant, it's oil resistant, it's heat resistant, shock resistant, anti-magnetic, anti-static. So there are a lot of tests you have to do in the DIN norm, even to see the time very quickly in 2 seconds. And the material is a set that you have to use, and the optics is a set that you have to use. And it's a really not easy to get this test done. It took us 4 years.
4 years, incredible. And what does the DIN process mean? I understand there's a lot of, you just mentioned oil-proof, gasoline-proof. Yeah. These aren't things I'm usually associating with tool watches here.
Sure. This is because these are elements that are around a plane, and this can damage a watch. And so they all have to be resistant to these things. And even to have to check the watch very quickly to see the time very easily. There's a lot of regulations you have to have in your watch.
And before we go, what is the connection to this watch that I see in your hands here?
The watch in my hand is an aviation watch from the German Air Force 80 years ago. We built these watches for the German Air Force, and it was a certified watch 80 years ago, and now we have a certified watch again. So we have both, 80 years ago and now.
Okay, excellent. This one might be a little more wearable for everyday use. Uwe, thank you so much for joining us. We've got more details on this watch and its time and date cousin now live on Worn and Wound. Uwe, thanks again.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Zach Kazan. I'm an editor with Worn and Wound, and we're here on the final day of the Windup Watch Fair in New York City. I'm happy to be joined today by Jose Miranda from Isotope Watches. Jose, you're making your debut here at the Windup Watch Fair. How's the fair going for you so far?
It's being amazing. It's the first time I'm here in New York for the fair, and it's been an incredible experience. Really, I will return for sure.
It's great to see you here. We've been following your brand for a long time on Worn and Wound, writing about your series of Hydra dive watches, which have been super popular. You brought a new watch to the fair this year. It's your first Chronograph. It's getting a lot of buzz. There's a sense that it's kind of like going to be a really big hit when it's released. You're holding it in your hand. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so this project started 3 years ago, and we started by designing a classic chronograph, but after seeing 80 classic chronographs being released, me and my designers, we opted to stop and try to reinvent a little bit what would be a chronograph, a retro futuristic chronograph. So we inspired in existing designs from the 70s. We tried to make them, we didn't like them. So we went to the future, and the Incal, a book of created by Moebius and Jodorowsky. And there I found the cues to develop a new chronograph. So one of the biggest novelties is that our chronograph covers the subdials. So we have discs that are covering the subdials. So we can do a very uncluttered dial, and you will only read what you need to read when you look at the chronograph. And that allows us to create something really different in terms of design, in terms of final product.
It's a really striking and unique design. When you showed it to me, I was immediately kind of smitten by it. It's very cool, and the case is cool too. It has this kind of like retro-futuristic sort of vibe to it, kind of similar to other watches in your collection, but different enough to be distinct.
You need to try it. You know, it's really, it's impossible to describe. The reactions we are having here today and yesterday is whoever sees this, it goes immediately, wow. So I'm really excited with the release of this one.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for showing us the watch, Jose, and it's great to have you at Windup finally, and enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, next up, we're here with the James brand, a brand I'm really excited to have at Windup Watch Fair. You've got a lot of really cool things going on. Joining me is Ryan from the James brand to talk about a really cool collaboration that they have going with Timex. This watch that's not going to be mistaken for anything else. There's a lot of personality here. Ryan, tell me about this watch.
So this is our second collaboration with Timex. We did this field watch a year ago, but we wanted to do something kind of different this time and actually get a little bit more playful. We can be a little bit high and tight as a brand, and so we wanted to get a little bit loose. And you know, there's a little bit of a pushback against the digitization of everything and the measuring of everything, and so I thought we should let's step back and do something a little bit more sort of analog, a little bit retro, get some retro colors going, and have some fun with it. So here we are.
Yeah, the watch turned out really beautifully. I love the kind of playful case here. And you referenced the initial one that you did. I believe there's a silver dial or a gray dial as well with this.
White dial,
A white dial. These, I love the design of these. And of course, this takes a slightly different turn at things with a more colorful accent. And I see colors reflected in a lot of other things that you're doing here. Tell me what people are responding to here at Windup Watch Fair.
Well, they're definitely responding to this. I mean, people are, it's a showstopper in that regard, so people are definitely paying attention to that. The Palmer, which is our little utility knife that we did a year ago, which we show in a lot of colors, that definitely draws people in, and it's kind of a bridge product between people who may not carry a knife every day, but that understand the utility of actually having a box cutter around. So that one's very popular for us too.
Sure, you've got a really cool selection of things. For people that aren't familiar with James brand, what do they need to know about you?
Well, we're all about modern, minimal, everyday carry. We think about ourselves as watch adjacent, both from a product and cultural standpoint. So, we come here to sort of like work with the watch community and kind of show how the things you might have in your pocket, your pen, your notebook, your pocket knife, can sort of work with your watch to kind of help complete your carry and sort of complete your look in some ways.
Excellent. Well, you certainly have a beautiful design language and aesthetic going, and we really love having you here at the fair. Ryan, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
We're here with Will Hodges from Tactile Turn. Tactile Turn is a pen company based in Dallas, Texas. Will, great to have you here. Thanks for coming to Windup.
Thanks for having me. It's been a really great show. Just been neat to meet everyone. It's our first watch show, so it's been cool to shake hands, get to know people. Sometimes we're explaining exactly who we are because we haven't really been around this world exactly. We've been deep into EDC, everyday carry, for a long time, but trying to get more into the watch world, so it's exciting.
You mentioned, obviously you're a pen company. This is your first watch show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what makes your pens special and unique? I know you have a kind of a different manufacturing process that adds a lot of character to your pens.
Absolutely. So we've got a full CNC machine shop. We've got 44 employees. We've got 23 CNC machines. So we do everything in-house. So we're full USA manufactured. We've got a lifetime warranty on everything that we do. But we do basically just clean, simple design that's sort of, well executed, excellent materials. Most of what we do is titanium, though we do work with bronze, copper, zirconium, a fun material that's not too common in this world yet, but probably will be more and more. But yeah, the fact that we do it all in-house, it's kind of a neat thing for our brand. So.
And your pens have a really unique like finish to them. That's like where the tactile in the name of the brand comes from. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that too?
So that's actually a happy accident. I was programming a part very early days. So I've been doing this for 11 years now. One of the early days with lathes, there's feed rates that for every revolution, it's how far it moves. I meant to program a .001 feed rate, and I programmed a .01. The texture came out, and that was pretty neat. Very happy accident that turned into what is our signature texture. Very simple. It's basically a tight spiral the entire way down the pin, but it is kind of what we're known for.
Yeah, it has a very, I'm a tactile turn pen owner, and it has a very unique kind of like sticky sort of grip to it. It's just it's a pleasure to kind of hold in the hand. It's very, very cool.
I love simple design, and when there's simple things that work really well, there's something incredibly satisfying about it, and that's it.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Will. You've got a really impressive table of like very cool stuff set up, and it's great to have you here at a show where people can come and physically handle your product, because like as we know with watches, it's important to try them on, and with your products, it's really important to feel them because that finish is so important.
Absolutely. In hand is way better than just photos on the internet can only tell you part of the story.
Thanks so much, Will. Thanks for being here.
How do you make an icon? Simple answer is, you don't. You just make something for the right reasons. Asking yourself, would you use it? Will it last? Is there any way to make it better? You steer clear of fads and trends and the latest. Building what you love and the way you believe in. And if you do all that, the things you make will find their place. So what do you call that? We call it Shinola.
I'm here with Lorenzo Ortega from Laurier Watches. Lorenzo, thank you for being at Windup, New York City once again.
Thanks for having me, Zach.
You guys are Windup staples. You come to these shows basically every Windup we've had, I think, almost. You've been you're a frequent guest, and you always bring interesting stuff. So you've brought a new version of the Hydra to Windup this year. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what makes this version different and special?
That's right. We just introduced this a couple days ago, and when I was designing the first Hydra, it was very military inspired. And with this version, which we're calling the Zulu, we thought that we would go all the way into that 1980s action film vibes, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Predator, Tom Cruise. So we blacked it out, gave it that orange lume, C3 on the GMT track. So make it look really badass, really utilitarian, and I think it came out great.
Yeah, it looks great. You know I'm a big movie fan. I know you are too. And when I saw the press info for this watch, and it had the like the stills from like Predator in it, and like you really kind of understand the aesthetic you're going for. I think a big part of it is also the strap. Why don't you tell us a little bit about like how you kind of came up with this idea and how you integrated everything together?
Well, we thought that a tool watch like this really belonged on a rubber strap. And we found this strap from Bonetto Cinturini, and it was just perfect. We didn't.
It's really cool.
Thank you. We didn't need to make any changes for it. It's kind of like the rubber version of our bracelet, and it's got these nice holes. So in the summer, if you wear it, it'll be really breathable, really comfortable. Yeah, it's pretty much perfect.
And just for people who might not be aware, because this latest version of the Hydra, which you initially introduced earlier this year, is a little bit different from previous versions of the Hydra. Can you tell us a little bit about like the specs and features of this watch? Because it's definitely like a step up in certain aspects for Laurier.
Right. So this is our so it's a GMT watch and a dive watch. So it's got the dive bezel and a GMT track on the dial. It's got 200 meters water resistance, and it features Miyota's 90-75 movement, which is pretty new, and we love it because it's got that quick set hour hand, which is really, really useful for traveling.
Yeah, it's a great travel watch. I own the original version, the one that just came out. I've used it for travel. It's great to be able to jump the hours with the local jumping hour hand. It's really fantastic.
Yeah, and if you ever find that, you know, you're going on a dive trip, you don't even need to change your watch. Go straight from the plane into the water.
Well, Lorenzo, thank you so much for joining us here at Windup. I'm going to let you get back to the table because it's getting really busy here on the last day. But thanks so much for joining us on a Weekend Watches, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And finally, we were with our friends at Baltic. I've got Etienne here. Etienne, hello, welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks for being at the show. We really appreciate it. You have a new watch here that we're excited to talk about, the Hermetic, the Hermetic.
Hermetic. You have a great French accent.
It's beautiful. The watch looks gorgeous. So tell me about it. This is your first field watch from Baltic. Tell me about this watch.
Yeah, so it's basically a field watch that we released last week. So it's a 37 millimeters field watch with a recessed crown, something that you don't see often because it's an inspiration from the 40s. There were actually several brands doing that, Movado, for example, or AWC, and they used to have this recessed crown for practical reason, which is water resistance.
Okay, so what is the water resistance on this watch, by the way?
It's actually 150.
150? That sounds like plenty. The watch looks beautiful. It also kind of makes the profile of the case really interesting and slim. Chic, I'd say. So this comes in 4 different colorways that I see here. What was the inspiration behind these color selections?
Well, we wanted to do something a little bit different. So the idea was to keep something classical with the blue that we use on other watches, but the rest would have been different. So this is actually why we've done green, we've done the brown and the sand color, which is very different. So the sand is one of the best, I think, and the green is different as well. So this is very interesting to try to pick those colors and link them to a field atmosphere, you know.
They all have a distinct personality, so I think they each work really well. I love the contrast and the chaptering and the applied indexes and hour markers. They all look like they're covered in lume. Tell me about that.
So it's called Lumicast, and a Lumicast is actually like a 3D index that is full of lume. So it's very powerful. It's very cool because it gives a sense of depth on the dial, which is very interesting, I think. So this is why we picked, you know, that characteristic for the dial.
A lot of beautiful details on this watch. I think it came out really beautifully. This is the Hermetic in 37 millimeters. Etienne, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for welcoming us here. It's been a great show. It's been maybe the biggest one, so we're pleased to be here.
All right, we appreciate it. And that is all from Windup Watch Fair New York 2023. Thanks so much to everyone who made it out today and to all the brands who are exhibiting, especially Baltic. Until next year, take care.